Hey creeps, Dark Academia checks all the boxes for me. It's ornate, it's moody, it's maximalist, it can sometimes be considered a little macabre. All of this paired with the rich color palette, the luxurious fabrics and textures. All of this has been a catalyst for me one day wanting a Dark Academia library. Since I currently rent and excess space is hard to come by, I'm opting for the next best thing by creating a little book nook right at the end of our hallway, right next to the bedroom and bathroom. All that I needed was the right bookshelf to make all my book nook dreams come true. Little did I know, while partaking in one of my favorite pastime activities of looking at Facebook Marketplace, I stumbled across the absolutely perfect coffin shelves being sold by a seller located in St. Helens, Oregon. I sent an inquiry pretty much immediately, and with some communication back and forth, the seller agreed to meet up with us later today. Welcome to the channel, the place to come for spooky DIY home and lifestyle content all year long. Let's go coffin shelf shopping. Some fun sightings that you'll see along our drive include a little glimpse of downtown Portland, St. John's Bridge, Wapato Bridge, a glorious rainbow, and that lush forested landscape we're known for in the Pacific Northwest. After some preparations, like putting down the seats in the back and packing up things like bungee cords and blankets, Aaron and I were then off to St. Helens to pick up the coffin shelf. But first we had plans to swing by the historic courthouse museum building that was featured in the 1998 film Halloweentown as the City Hall building. Other filming locations that you can still visit from the film include the iconic Halloweentown Square, located directly across the street from the historic courthouse museum, and Aggie Cromwell's house, which is now the Nob Hill Riverview Bed and Breakfast and is just a couple blocks away from the square. St. Helens is a beautiful little town, approximately 30 miles northwest from Portland, and is not just known for their Spirit of Halloweentown festivities, hosted every mid-September through October, but also for the breathtaking views right along the Columbia River and Mount St. Helens, located 30 miles northeast up in Washington. After driving through a fair amount of heavy rain, we finally made it to St. Helens. The first stop was City Hall, where I took obligatory fangirl video and photos out front. We then ran out of time and sunlight to swing by Aggie Cromwell's house prior to our appointment to pick up the coffin shelf, so we'll have to do this on a future trip. I didn't capture any footage of us loading the shelf into the car or meeting Dean and his lovely wife Tiffany because it started raining really hard during the loading process and we were trying to move fast to get out of the rain. But we were able to get all 6 feet of the coffin shelf into the back of the fit and get the back hatch closed, so that was good news. I just had to sacrifice some leg space and a lot of lean back space for the cause. After some strategic maneuvers, we were finally able to negotiate both coffin shelves out of the back of the fit and store them in the back of the garage for painting later. When we met up with Dean, he also had a couple smaller and shallower coffin shelves, one of which we took off his hands. This shelf will be making an appearance in a future video, so be sure to subscribe for when that video comes out. Then it was time to source materials, including Behr's Blackest paint, a roller, a paint tray, and some other miscellaneous items for the smaller coffin shelf project. Of course, the weekend I had planned to paint landed on the weekend that it snowed in Portland. Behr Paint recommends application temps to be 50 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, so this ruled out painting in the garage. I instead pivoted and came up with the idea to paint inside by turning my kitchen into something that could have been a future crime scene by covering my floors and stools with litter box liners. To get the best coverage, I first cut each liner down both side seams to be able to lay them out flat. Dean, who I purchased these shelves from, was so accommodating and is super talented. He worked with us on a meetup time despite our limited schedule that weekend and even offers really reasonable pricing for an array of items not just limited to coffin shelves that he makes by hand from reclaimed wood. If you are interested in a coffin shelf of your own, I strongly recommend looking up Dean LaRock and hitting him up through the email address provided in the video description. He'll sometimes have a coffin shelf on hand ready for purchase, but more often produces items for custom orders, so you can have one made to your preferred specs. Once painting prep was complete, I had to go retrieve the shelves from the garage, being mindful not to slip on the ice rink at the base of the stairs. To remove the little bits of debris and sawdust, I took a towel and wiped down the shelving. Now that the shelving and painting space was prepped, it was finally time for painting. I ultimately used the whole quart of paint for this project and was able to apply 2 coats. I didn't paint the back inside of the shelves because I knew I was going to be covering these areas with sticky back wallpaper, and I also didn't paint the bottom in an effort to conserve paint. I was able to paint most of the surface areas with a roller and then go back in with a 2-inch chip brush to paint all the nooks and crannies. After allowing the paint to dry overnight, it was time to apply the sticky back wallpaper designed by Charlotte Winter that I purchased through Spoonflower. I'll include the link as well as the product details in the video description. When you order the sticky back wallpaper from Spoonflower, they'll also include one of these scraper tools to get the air bubbles out as you stick the wallpaper to a surface. I found that these also work really well when putting materials on a Cricut mat. Because the shelving does not come out, I had to cut the wallpaper into separate sections for each cubby. To do this, I first took measurements of the height and width of each shelf space and then cut the wallpaper length into strips using my height measurements, to later cut the strip widths down to match the shelf width measurements. This method worked out well from an efficient use of material perspective, as well as accounting for the direction of the wallpaper print. To stick the wallpaper in place, I made center marks on the top and bottom edges of each wallpaper piece and inside of each shelf cubby. I then peeled the backing paper down about 3 inches from the top edge, and then lined up the top edge of the wallpaper with the bottom of the shelf as well as the center marks. Once this edge was pressed tentatively in place, I took off the backing paper and matched up the center marks at the bottom. If both the top and bottom edges appeared to be mostly even, I then began scraping from the center all the way out to the edges to stick the wallpaper in place. Using a craft knife, I cut away any wallpaper excess around the sides and bottom and repeated these steps until all shelf backs were covered. With the shelf finished and in its intended place, I got to fill it up with specifically our spooky theme book collection and some of my favorite Halloween decor pieces that I've collected over the years. I'm so excited to have this cute but creepy book nook in an area that was previously neglected and overlooked in our apartment. Not to mention having a special place to keep and appreciate those tabletop decor pieces that I was lacking the table and shelf space for is a win in my book. Don't forget to check out the listings that Dean has on his Facebook Marketplace page, as well as hitting him up through the email in the video description for any custom inquiries your little goth heart so desires. I hope to have some Halloween content for you in the next video, followed by a nightstand refresh using that smaller coffin shelf, so be sure to subscribe for all that. And thank you as always for visiting my creepy craft corner of the internet and for watching till the end. Now let's see those final shots.